Hey everybody, it's Linda Morrison here from Ageless Goddess and Ageless Business. I'm really super excited today to be again across the waters into a different country to speak to Mili Ristic. Thank you so much for being on board. I am so thankful that we get to talk to lots of really bright buttons as it goes along in this art of listening. I happen to have been born like maybe a B plus student in around the written word and the spoken word probably, but across the years I've become really super fascinated by communication and good communication and also the art of listening and listening consciously is an active thing that we can all get better at. So I'm really super excited today to be extending our series two of the art of listening interviews with Mili. Mili, please tell us where you're from or are, whatever you want to share here, but also how you actually help people with being really good at listening.
Yes, Linda, thank you so much for having me here today. This is amazing. Wow, I'm very excited also for this interview, especially to share my voice, across the borders all the way to Australia. As I'm, yes, as I'm originally coming from Serbia, but I live in US. So I used to live in New York. Now I live in Miami and I go to New York very often. Yes. So I am a mindset and leadership coach, and I help female business owners to really stretch their minds and um, achieve their dreams and achieve their big goals. And then I help them how to get where they want to go by shifting their thoughts, shifting their beliefs, shifting their habits, working on their self-worth, working on their self-confidence, and really bringing that magic from within outward.
Love it. Thank you so much for actually saying that. We got a little moment to speak before about my fascination with people from everywhere, but also languages, and how I got to, I have had 30 years of working a lot with women. So I'd say the good proportion were women, but they were of all abilities to be able to communicate with me from language challenges, let's say, right through to acquired brain injury, right through to, their pressures about who they cared for, different generations, let's say, elderly parents, their own husband, their own kids, their own whoever else that, puppy dogs and all the different things that they actually look after, as well as building business. So my fascination in and around this psychosocial space of being able to listen has only expanded over time. But I would say I've had a good solid education, but actually it's been my curiosity about getting to know people that has actually made me be able to ascend to where I didn't even know my career could go. Can you speak into that a little bit? Because obviously you get to work with some really bright people in the room, and how they are able to access things that they didn't even know were there.
Yes. So first to touch a little bit on your curiosity about people and I found through my life journey and moving from my little country, little town to all the way to America on my own, that being curious in people and knowing people, it's very important, not only for your life, but for business, for everything. You know how they say, it's not what you know, but who do you know? And also people love to talk about themselves. So when you're curious and asking questions, it's you get so much information. My own experience, I learned so much by just meeting new people and asking questions. And I always learn something new, which you and I absolutely share here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am finding when I was younger, I was in a little bit of a hurry. So now I'm a little bit older. I try to pause more often and wait to learn something new. Um, do you find that I suppose that sometimes the smart people in the room always think that they know what you're going to say next. Um, but actually, it's in between and in the pauses that the gold happens. Does that make sense? Gold, like as in, the gems, the good
Yeah.
stuff happens. Yeah. Also being online has fragmented some people in their communication. Um, so, because I've been online for 13 years, I've worked out a way. If you were in the room with me, I'm actually quite quiet. But if the video's on, you got to do something and say something, but also have the patience to listen to somebody else that might also be just as awkward, let's say, or just as pensive, thinking about what they're going to say. Yeah, so the art of listening comes in that patience of what's not said sometimes. So, can you speak in a little bit into that? Because my imagination is, because I only have, we spoke about this before, I only have one language. So I think in English, I talk in English, but I'm thinking sometimes if your first language is not the language you're speaking, that's got to go in your brain and out again and then back out again. Is that a superpower or is that a hindrance? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Honestly, of course, languages are superpower.
Yes.
Definitely, as many as you know, it's much better for you and your brain and your mind. But what I found challenging for me is that because I work in English, I think in English, I speak English every day, almost all day long. And then sometimes it happens that when I speak with Serbian people, or even the material that I do, it's hard for me to find some words in my language because I'm so much talking in English and thinking that sometimes my,
Yeah.
let's say, Serbian friends, and I did various workshops with Serbian business owners. I even though I'm a co-author of one of the books with 10 experts, helping Serbian female business owners thrive and succeed.
Right.
And for me, it was so hard to speak in Serbian.
Right.
First time when I did this, I asked, can I share, what I have to share in English? So as you know, to answer your question, honestly, depend on the situation. Sometimes it is
Yeah.
challenge, sometimes it's great, it's a gift, and
Yeah.
depending on the situation and how do you use it and where do you use it.
Yeah. Got you. Thank you so much. Can I just ask at what age did you learn a second language? So was it young or as in like a teenager or was it older? Yeah.
It's well, you see, in Serbia, I learned English since 5th grade. I learned
Yeah.
Russian since 3rd grade. I
Wow.
learned French in high school and Latin language in high school, but
Yeah.
English, but I don't speak fluently Russian. I don't speak fluently French.
Yeah.
Latin is the old language, so we don't really use it. But English fluently, like I learned through all my school and education, even my university. But I started speaking English when actually I left my country. when
Yeah,
I started working with Americans, that's when I forced myself to use it and,
gotcha.
immerse myself.
Yeah, got
Right.
you. Thank you for actually saying that because as a behavior change specialist, I do know, and speaking, you know, got friends who are linguists. I'm a bit of a geek. It's weird, isn't it? But um, they say before 15 or 16 years of age, you've got a better chance of just picking it up as if it's whatever. But my understanding is, well, what I've experienced is that if I'm amongst people that are constantly using the same phrases around the house, let's say, pass me that, come here, this is a chair, pull out the chair, like, get the front door, all the like building out from stuff is so much easier than actually going onto an app and learning it. So immersing yourself is quite incredible. But you've actually, and the point I really probably want to segue with all of that is immersing yourself. So you work with female entrepreneurs and females in business, obviously across the world, because we're speaking, I'm in Melbourne, you're in America, and you've got beautiful people across in Serbia as well, and probably beyond. But immersing yourself in a new skill actually normalizes it to the point where it becomes something that you're really good at. So surrounding yourself with those people. So say you want to earn six, seven figures or whatever your goal is, immersing yourself in it is quite incredible. But being alongside of the right people doesn't matter how we speak in terrific English or not terrific English or whatever. Basically, we're all wanting to head towards something. Mili, you've obviously been working with some really great powerhouses and really great people. What are you finding that women are really wanting right now? Apart from the fact we want to look after others and look after our communities and look after ourselves and all the things, what are you finding that women are wanting now?
Wow.
I know it's a lot. I'm
What
sorry.
they want? They want peace of mind. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Peace of mind. And as they're so overwhelmed with everything, what is going on, and their businesses and children and families and the world, the people are distracted. They are so much distracted. So the
Yeah.
hardest thing for them is to, as you said, pause and be with themselves, and they really want that. They really want a little bit time for
Mm.
themselves, a little bit time. Of course, everybody wants success. Everybody wants to get, to the certain
Yeah,
point
smart
where
people.
they're
Yeah,
being
they, yeah.
of that. But you might find this interesting, but I do have also male clients who come to me,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know me from a long time ago, and they come to me and they want me to help them
Yeah.
get that zen for life again, meaning like they have wonderful families, life and business and everything, but just what is missing is that um motivation for life, like every to wake up every day happy, to wake up every day jazzed about the day, about the life, and because everything becomes the same and everything becomes like just on a hamster wheel, and like they don't see beauty anymore in what they're doing, and it's the same thing with women too, but a little bit different. They want also peace of mind,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And if I can extend on that and just use some other words, which I think is the same thing, is that security came up for the last 12 months. That they've got a soft place to land, or people have a soft place to land. I also do work with men. I don't on my front end marketing don't actually pop that out there, but it's a similar thing too. So yeah, there's a spark and a way to
Exactly.
be. Yeah, so there's a way to be. There's a, like you say, zen or a sweet spot. Yeah, like a sweet spot. These are just different words for the same thing, I think, Millie, that yeah, we're talking about 100%. But you can't, give from a empty cup. And there is so much going on, so much noise, so much input. And when you input for us with these guys, these things, but for you to actually pause and actually, let in what needs to come in and let go
Mm,
of what doesn't. What fascinates me across the world is that most people actually want the same thing. They have the ability and they can do it across the world to actually look after and support many, and that's what they want to do. And money in good hands to me says a
yeah.
better world. That's why the work is that I actually do. But there's this thing called the ego that pops up, right? And I'm all for, looking good, feeling good, and all the things. And I've grown up in fitness. Literally, I was never tall enough, skinny enough, blonde enough, this enough, whatever. But what actually rises up with all of that is that we need to reinvent ourselves
Yeah.
often,
Yes.
often. And I'm finding every decade there's a new wave.
Hmm.
Can you talk into that just a little bit? Because I think we're, vibing on similar ideas.
Yes. So, um, sometimes people think that when they stop studying or stop, or like they end up working in corporate world for 20, 30 years, 40 years, and that's, end of the life or whatever. But when you realize, and I see my clients, when they are ready to leave this 9 to 5 job and start their own, they say, I want to do something more meaningless or meaningful, sorry, more meaningful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't want to just do this job anymore. Like, just what is this like, right? So once when you're aware of that, you planted the seed and you already start to think differently,
yeah,
right? And this change, as you said, like in my own example, I feel like in this life, I can say openly, I'm 40 years old, but in this life, I feel like I lived, I don't know, minimum 15 lives, because this is how many times I reinvented myself because I did the quantum leaps.
yeah.
Living in a small town, I went in a big town to study. From there, I went across the waters, right, working with America. So
Mm,
uh, I was engaged, living in totally different country. Then I came back to America, and then one job, one profession, then another profession, third, fourth. So and then cities, states, every experience, because I was not afraid to take that change
yeah.
and to take that step, And for me, every change
Mm,
is actually adventure. I don't look at it through fear lenses, but I look at it like excitement, because I'm going to learn something, I'm going to grow. So
mm,
when I also do this work with my clients,
yeah.
it's it's so important, this inner work and transformation and shifting your mind from fear into faith, how we do this, right? So once when you cross that line, first time, second time it's more easier, third time is much more easier, and every time you start from zero, let's say, but you're not starting from zero because you already been many times there, but it's at the zero. Now it's like zero plus, and then it's one, and then one plus. So every time when you start and something new in your life and the change, like when I moved from San Francisco to New York, I didn't know anyone. And when I moved from New York to Miami, I knew only one person. Like now I have all my life here. But it, even though I didn't speak English,
Yeah.
when I started working, I worked on a cruise line for 4 years and a half. I didn't know English. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and then when I started working in corporate world in America, I didn't know corporate English, but I was not afraid to take that step and like ask people and say, please, please just correct me whenever write you an email or whenever what I say. And
Yeah.
I was not back again to your curiosity. I was not
Yeah.
afraid to say, I
Yeah.
don't understand words. What did you?
Yeah.
What this?
Yeah.
You
Thank
know?
you for saying that. So beautifully said. Because I, there is a short line between feeling dumb, but also the curiosity really is, um, I've not done this before. Can you help me with this? But then the person in the room who's better than you at that thing gets to be the teacher. I think that's a really nice role as well. Like it brings communication together. But I'll often say that when I'm asking stuff, because when I went online, I couldn't even do, I couldn't even, I did all my banking. I walked into the bank like an old-fashioned person and I did the banking. Like when I went online, I knew nothing. So I would say, this might be a stupid question, but can you teach me how to do this, please? And so that humility to be
Yes.
the little one who doesn't know nothing or knows a little bit, and the curiosity, that takes breaking down of some egos.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
so you have just hit the nail on the head of why I've actually done the art of listening. And that's been because we've all got this thing and we think we know everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything. I've got beautiful babies there, but we think we know everything. We don't actually. We know this much of this much of this much about this much. But the gold really is about being curious that everyone can teach us something. Everyone.
Yes, absolutely, everyone. And even though you will be surprised, sometimes you think that another person in the room knows much better than you, but it's not true. Usually, people think people, when they talk a lot, they're very smart. But then, when you are, as you said, again, when you pause and when you listen and you hear them, that they're just repeating all the time the same words, and plus, they don't know to do actions. They don't act. They just talk, talk, and talk, but they don't walk their talk. So and then you realize, oh wow, there are many things around that. Yeah, I love
So
this
many
topic.
things, so many things. And we're in a deep dive of
Yes,
a world where they're filling up us with, I said to my daughter the other day, she's nearly 25, I said, Mackenzie, when are you going to be the president of Australia? She goes, it's a prime minister, mum. I'm like, oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot. Get on it, kid.
yeah, yeah.
But I got the giggles, and she's like, "Who would want that job?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right? I know, right?" But yeah, so your experts are often in the room, and then they're not in the room as well, and yeah, but I think, yeah, water finds its own level. It's been beautiful to talk to you, Millie. So can you tell us a few more things about you and what you're working on at the moment? And we'll have show notes as well to make sure people can link to you.
Yes. So I do also work with corporations a lot, and I do public speakings, and I do lots of workshops for them and their teams to close the gap between executives and their teams on communication.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and I'm now creating a online program. It's good. It's about overwhelmed and how to overcome overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That's much needed in the world, and it's coming up soon. I do have this Friday actually a coaching coffee with Mili, which I host once a month, every other Friday for everyone who wants to join. I don't know what time actually will be your time,
Oh,
but it's
probably
at
Saturday
11
morning. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I don't know what time is that in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, let me work it out.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Anyway, so there are lots of things. And of course, I do one-on-one coachings. I do organize events where I partner with experts on various topics. So there are always some activities that I do.
Love it.
And the best way to find out about me and what I do is actually on my Instagram profile or LinkedIn, where you
Uh,
can.
Thank you so much, Mili, for being part of the Art of Listening Series 2. I really, really super appreciate it. And for anyone that wants to get in touch, the show notes will be below for Mili, but also we'll be producing and popping out a book in not too long as well. Thank you so much, Mili.
Thank you. It was pleasure.